Adrift in the void. Commander Rhea Donovan had always believed space was beautiful in its indifference. Now, as she stared at the blinking emergency lights of the Phoenix's damaged control panel, she was reconsidering that philosophy. The universe wasn't indifferent, it was downright hostile. "Status report," she demanded, her voice steady despite the fear churning in her stomach. The ship's AI responded with clinical precision. Life support functioning at 67%, hull integrity compromised in sectors 3 through 7, communication array destroyed, navigation systems offline. Rhea ran her fingers through her short auburn hair, leaving it standing in unruly spikes. Translation: "We're completely lost with no way to call for help." She tapped the distress beacon activation. At least that still worked, though who would hear it this far out was anyone's guess. The incident had happened so quickly. A routine resource mapping mission in the Kepler sector, then a sudden gravitational anomaly that their sensors had failed to detect. The Phoenix had been caught in it like a leaf in a hurricane, systems failing as they were pulled through what Rhea could only assume was some kind of wormhole. Now they drifted in an uncharted region of space, surrounded by unfamiliar star patterns, and a nebula that glowed with colors she'd never seen before, shifting purples and blues that seemed almost alive. "Vila," Rhea called to her AI companion, "any matches to known star charts?" "Negative, Commander. Our current position does not correlate with any mapped sector in my database." Perfect. 3 years as commander of an exploration vessel, and she'd managed to get her ship and crew more thoroughly lost than anyone in the history of space travel. The crew, Rhea's stomach clenched. She needed to check on them. Rising from her command chair, she made her way through the dimly lit corridors of the Phoenix. Emergency lighting cast everything in an eerie red glow, making the damage look even worse than it was. Engineer Tomas Reeves was already hard at work in the engine room, his dark hands moving with practiced efficiency over the quantum drive housing. "Give me good news, Reeves," Rhea said, leaning against the doorframe. He looked up, wiping sweat from his brow, leaving a smudge of grease. "I can get life support back to full capacity within hours. The propulsion system is another story. Whatever that anomaly was, it fried most of our circuitry." "Can we move at all?" "Subsystems are operational. We can maneuver, but at a fraction of our normal speed." He hesitated. "There's something else you should see." He led her to a viewport, pointing to the hull plating visible outside. Rhea squinted, then felt her blood run cold. The metal was covered in a fine, luminescent dust that seemed to shift and move of its own accord. "What is that?" she whispered. "Unknown, but it's everywhere on the exterior. Dr. Ackefer is analyzing samples now." Rhea nodded, her mind already processing this new problem. "Keep working on propulsion. I'll check with medical about the crew." The medical bay was a scene of organized chaos. Dr. Imani Ackefer moved between beds with calm efficiency, checking readouts and adjusting treatments. Of the 40-person crew, 12 had sustained injuries during the event. "Commander," Dr. Ackefer greeted her, dark eyes serious in her elegant face. "Everyone's stable, mostly impact injuries, a few cases of radiation exposure." "And the dust?" Rhea asked. Imani pointed to a sealed container where the luminescent particles swirled as if seeking escape. "Fascinating stuff. Preliminary analysis shows it's organic in nature, but nothing like any life form we've encountered." "Is it dangerous?" "Not immediately. It doesn't appear to be corrosive or radioactive, but I'd recommend we keep monitoring it. Something about its molecular structure is unusual." Rhea nodded, feeling the weight of command pressing down on her shoulders. "Keep me updated. I need to check the rest of the ship." Security Chief Darius Ward met her in the corridor, his imposing frame tense with readiness. "Commander, I've secured all sensitive areas and established guard rotations." Any signs of external threats? Nothing yet but this region, he gestured vaguely. The sensors are picking up some unusual energy signatures. Nothing matches known patterns. Could be natural phenomena, Rhea suggested. Could be, or something else. Ward had always been cautious to the point of paranoia, a quality that had saved their lives more than once. Double the sensor sweeps. I want to know if anything approaches us. Rhea continued her inspection, finding her science officer, Lucia Reyes, in the observation dome. The young woman was recording the nebula's strange behavior, her face illuminated by the shifting colors. It pulses like it's breathing, Lucia said without turning around. I've never seen anything like it. Any theories on where we are? Lucia shook her head, her long braids swinging. Based on spectral analysis, we're at least 30,000 light-years from our last known position, but that's impossible given the time frame. Clearly not impossible since we're here, Rhea said dryly. The question is, how do we get back? I'm working on it. There's something about this nebula, Lucia trailed off, eyes fixed on the swirling patterns. It's not random. The light pulses have a pattern almost like. Like what? Like a language. Rhea stared at the nebula with new eyes. Could it be? Was something out there trying to communicate? Back in her quarters, Rhea recorded a log entry, forcing herself to document their situation clearly. Phoenix Log, Commander Rhea Donovan. We are stranded in an uncharted region following an encounter with an unknown anomaly. Repairs are underway, but our position remains a mystery. The crew is holding together, but, she paused, but we need a miracle. She ended the recording and allowed herself a moment of vulnerability now that she was alone. They had limited supplies, no way to contact Earth, and they were surrounded by phenomena that defied explanation. As she stared out her viewport at the luminescent nebula, something caught her eye. A shadow moving against the colorful backdrop, something large and dark, its outline barely discernible. Rhea hit the comm. Bridge, are you tracking any objects near our position? Negative, Commander, came the puzzled reply. Sensors show clear space around us. But Rhea could see it clearly now. A massive vessel, unlike any design she'd ever encountered. It moved with silent precision, approaching the Phoenix like a predator stalking prey. And their sensors couldn't detect it at all. Red alert, she ordered, racing for the bridge. All hands to battle stations. The mysterious ship drew closer, its surface seeming to absorb the nebula's light rather than reflect it. No visible propulsion. No energy signatures. Just a silent, impossible void moving with purpose through space. As Rhea reached the bridge, the view screen filled with the approaching vessel. And then, without warning, all systems on the Phoenix went dark. In the sudden silence, Rhea heard it, a soft, rhythmic hum that seemed to resonate within her very bones, and with it came a voice, not heard with her ears but felt in her mind. We have been waiting for you. Part 2, The Silent Visitor. The darkness aboard the Phoenix lasted exactly 17 seconds. Rhea counted each one as her crew froze in place, the only sound their controlled breathing. When the systems reactivated, every screen displayed the same message in pulsing blue script. No harm intended. Permission to establish contact. What the hell? Security Chief Ward muttered, weapon drawn and pointed at nothing in particular. Rhea studied the message. Whatever language it had originally been written in, their systems had translated it into English. That meant the other vessel had somehow accessed their linguistic database. Vila, she addressed the ship's AI, run a full diagnostic. Have we been compromised? No evidence of system breach, Commander, the AI responded. However, I am detecting an unusual energy signature emanating from the unidentified vessel. It appears to be resonating with our communication arrays. Lucia Reyes was already analyzing the readings, her fingers flying across the holographic interface. It's not an attack pattern, More like, they're adapting to our technology, creating a compatible interface. Clever, Rhea murmured. She straightened her uniform and made a decision. Open a channel. Channel active, Vila confirmed. Rhea squared her shoulders. This is Commander Rhea Donovan of the Earth exploration vessel Phoenix. We are on a peaceful mission and mean no harm. Identify yourself. The response came not through the speakers, but directly into Rhea's mind. A sensation so unexpected she nearly stumbled backward. I am Nyx, last sentinel of the Umbra. Your vessel is damaged. You are lost. Rhea glanced at her crew, their faces showing no reaction. Did anyone else hear that? Blank stares answered her question. Hear what, Commander? Lucia asked, concerned. Before Rhea could respond, a beam of soft blue light emanated from the alien vessel, connecting with the Phoenix's hull precisely where the worst damage had occurred. Alarm klaxons sounded immediately. They're breaching our hull, Ward shouted, already moving toward the weapons station. Wait, Rhea commanded, watching the readouts. Look at the structural integrity field. The numbers were rising, not falling. Whatever the beam was doing, it was repairing the damage. Stand down, Chief, Rhea ordered. Let's see what they're doing. The blue light spread across the Phoenix's hull, the luminescent dust they'd observed earlier moving in coordinated patterns beneath it. Within minutes, the ship's exterior was fully restored, better than new, with a subtle iridescent quality to the metal. Your vessel is stabilized. Communication now possible with your collective. This time, the voice echoed through the ship's speakers, a melodic, gender-neutral tone that somehow conveyed both age and youth simultaneously. Thank you for the repairs, Rhea responded cautiously, but why help us? You are far from your origin, as am I. There is recognition. The main view screen flickered, revealing an interior view of the other vessel. The bridge fell silent as they all stared at the being displayed before them. Nyx stood nearly 7 feet tall, with a slender form that seemed to shift between solid and translucent. Their skin, if it could be called that, had the same iridescent quality as the repaired hull, with patterns of light flowing beneath the surface. No discernible facial features except for large, almond-shaped eyes that contained miniature galaxies of light. Remarkable, Lucia whispered, approaching the screen. A photonic life form. Simplified but acceptable. My kind evolved beyond physical constraints millennia ago. This manifestation is for your comfort. Rhea studied the alien carefully. You said you're the last sentinel. What does that mean? I am the final guardian of Umbra knowledge and history. All others have ascended or been lost to the great dissolution. You're alone, Rhea realized, feeling an unexpected pang of empathy. As you are among the stars, different solitudes, same experience. Reeves stepped forward, unable to contain his engineer's curiosity. Your ship, it doesn't register on our sensors. How is that possible? The Umbra operates in harmonics beyond your detection parameters. It exists partially in realms adjacent to your perceived reality. A dimensional ship, Lucia breathed. Theoretical physics suggested it might be possible, but to actually see one. The alien's form shimmered slightly. Your vessel's displacement was not random. The resonance pattern of your quantum drive aligned with ancient Umbra pathways. You were drawn here specifically. Rhea frowned. Are you saying our arrival was predetermined? The universe speaks in probability, Commander. Your arrival had high resonance potential. I have waited for such an alignment. Waited for what purpose? Ward asked suspiciously. To share knowledge, to prevent repetition of errors, to find continuation. There was something in that last word, a loneliness, a desperation almost, that resonated with Rhea. Before she could respond, Dr. Akafer's voice came urgently over the comm. Commander, you need to see this immediately. On my way, Rhea responded, then addressed Nyx. Will you remain here? I will accompany. This concerns our interaction. Without warning, a portion of Nix's form separated, flowing through the view screen like liquid light and reforming beside Rhea. Several crew members gasped, and Ward's hand moved instinctively to his weapon. At ease, Rhea ordered, though her own heart was racing. Lead the way, Doctor. In the lab, Dr. Akafer stood before a containment field that held several crew members who had been working near the hull. Their skin showed patches of the same iridescence that covered Nix and now the Phoenix's exterior. It started after the repairs, Amani explained, keeping her voice steady. The particulate matter we collected earlier has begun integrating with human tissue. Are they in pain? Rhea asked, watching one engineer examine his glowing arm with fascination rather than fear. No, in fact, they report enhanced sensory perception and unusual mental clarity. The resonance bond has initiated, Nix observed, moving closer to the field. Unexpected but not unprecedented when species with complementary neural patterns interact. Resonance bond, Rhea repeated. What exactly does that mean? A synchronized neural energy exchange. Your kind possesses latent harmonic capabilities compatible with Umbra patterns. The repair process activated this potential in those with highest receptivity. Rhea studied the affected crew members carefully. Is it dangerous? Not inherently, but it is irreversible and will progress. Progress to what? Ward demanded. Nix turned those galaxy eyes toward the security chief. Heightened awareness, expanded perception, eventually limited access to dimensional frequencies beyond standard human range. They're evolving, Lucia whispered. Adapting, Nix corrected, as I am adapting to your presence. This is why you were drawn here, Commander. Our species can learn from each other in ways previously unimagined. Rhea felt a strange, tingling sensation in her fingertips as she stepped closer to the containment field. Looking down, she saw faint traces of luminescence beginning to form beneath her skin. It seems I'm compatible as well, she observed, with remarkable calm considering the circumstances. The strongest resonance pattern I have detected among your crew, Nix confirmed. Your mind reached mine before any other. The implications were staggering. A chance encounter through a spatial anomaly had led to first contact with a species so advanced they existed partially in other dimensions. And now, somehow, humans were showing the ability to adapt to their energy patterns. I need time to process this, Rhea said finally, and to ensure my crew's safety. Understanding, I will return to the Umbra and maintain position. The resonance bond will stabilize within your planetary cycle. We will commune again when you are prepared. With that, Nix's form dissolved into particles of light that swirled around Rhea briefly before disappearing. On the main view screen, the alien vessel shifted slightly, taking up a parallel position to the Phoenix but maintaining distance. Rhea looked at her gradually transforming hand, then at her affected crew members. Whatever had just happened, there was no going back. They had crossed a threshold into something entirely new. And somehow, despite the unknowns, despite the risks, Rhea felt a sense of wonder replacing her fear. The universe had just become infinitely more complex and infinitely more fascinating. Log this, she told Vila. First contact established with photonic entity Nix of the Umbra species. Physical and potentially neural adaptation occurring in human crew. Beginning observation and documentation protocols. As she spoke, the luminescence beneath her skin pulsed in rhythm with her words, and somewhere in the back of her mind, she felt an answering resonance. Nix, watching, waiting, hopping. The journey they were about to embark on would change humanity forever. Whispers of the stars. The transformation progressed steadily over the next 48 hours. Rhea spent much of this time in her quarters, watching the luminescent patterns spread across her skin like a living tattoo. The iridescence now covered most of her left arm and had begun creeping across her collarbone, pulsing gently with her heartbeat. More fascinating than the physical changes were the mental ones. Her thoughts felt clearer, more structured, as if previously jumbled neural pathways had been straightened and optimized. Colors appeared more vibrant, sounds more textured, and sometimes when she focused intently, she could sense echoes of emotions that weren't her own, whispers of an ancient consciousness reaching across the void. A soft chime interrupted her observations. "Enter," she called. Dr. Akafor stepped inside, medical scanner in hand. "Time for your checkup, Commander." Rhea extended her arm for examination. Any negative effects in the other crew members? Surprisingly, no. Imani studied the readings with professional interest. Quite the opposite. Elevated neural activity, improved cellular regeneration, enhanced sensory processing. Whatever this resonance bond is, it seems to be optimizing human physiology rather than harming it. And psychologically, some disorientation as they adjust to the heightened sensory input, a few cases of temporary insomnia, but overall, Imani shook her head in wonder. They're thriving. Engineer Patel repaired a quantum relay yesterday that would have taken a team of specialists back on Earth. Rhea absorbed this information. How many affected now? 27 of 40 crew members show some level of transformation. You and Engineer Reeves exhibit the most advanced progression. And the rest? Imani hesitated. It appears genetic predisposition determines compatibility. Those with certain neurological patterns simply aren't receptive to the resonance. How are they handling it? Some disappointment. Chief Ward is particularly frustrated. Rhea wasn't surprised. Darius had always prided himself on physical capabilities. The idea that others were evolving beyond him would strike at his core identity. I should speak with him, she decided. Later, perhaps. Right now, there's something more urgent. Imani lowered her voice. Lucia has discovered something about the nebula surrounding us, something significant. In the observation dome, Lucia was recording the nebula's pulses with an array of specialized equipment. The young scientist barely looked up when Rhea entered, her attention fixed on the data scrolling across her screens. You found something, Rhea prompted. Lucia nodded, finally turning. Her eyes now contained faint swirls of light, another manifestation of the resonance bond. The nebula isn't natural, Commander, it's artificial. Artificial? You mean it was created? Precisely. The energy patterns are too ordered, too consistent, and when I analyze the spectral frequencies, she brought up a complex waveform on the main display. They match the resonance patterns in our transformed cells exactly. Rhea stared at the massive cosmic structure with new understanding. It's Umbra technology. On a scale that defies comprehension, my calculations suggest it's at least 50,000 years old. A relic from their civilization, Rhea murmured. But what's its purpose? Before Lucia could answer, Rhea felt a familiar presence in her mind. To remember, to preserve, to connect. Nick stood at the entrance to the dome, their luminescent form dimmer than before, as if conserving energy. You created this nebula, Rhea asked. Not I alone. All Umbra contributed. When the Great Dissolution began, we knew our physical forms would not survive. This archive contains our collective memory, experience, knowledge. It's a library, Lucia breathed, a galactic-scale library. And more, it is our essence, what your kind might call our soul. Realization dawned on Rhea. That's why the resonance affects us. We're not just interacting with you, we're connecting with your entire civilization. Nyx moved closer, their form rippling with what might have been emotion. You understand. This is why your arrival holds such significance. In millennia of solitude, no species has shown compatibility with our resonance patterns. What happened to your people? Rhea asked gently. This great dissolution you mentioned. Nyx's form dimmed further, galaxies in their eyes swirling slower. Evolution has consequences, Commander. The Umbra achieved transcendence beyond physical form, but the process was imperfect. As we expanded our consciousness into higher dimensions, we lost cohesion in this one. They evolved themselves into extinction, Lucia whispered. Not extinction, transformation. Most ascended completely, losing all connection to this dimensional plane. I remained as sentinel, preserving the bridge between states of being. For how long? Rhea asked. By your measurement, nearly 3 million years. The weight of that solitude was almost incomprehensible. 3 million years watching over the memories of an entire civilization, with no one to share them with. And now us, Rhea said quietly. Human beings stumbling into your vigil through a random spatial anomaly. Not random, Nyx corrected. The quantum resonance of your drive technology is the first to harmonize with our patterns since the dissolution. Your species possesses an uncommon neural plasticity that allows adaptation to our energy signatures. What does that mean for us, for those who are changing? Potential. Your physical forms remain stable while accommodating expanded consciousness. You may achieve what we could not, balance between dimensions. The implications were staggering. Humanity making an evolutionary leap not through millennia of natural selection, but through contact with an ancient, transcended species. Why help us? Rhea asked the question that had been troubling her. What do you gain? Nyx's form brightened slightly, galaxies swirling faster. Continuation, connection. The resonance flows both ways, Commander. As your people adapt to our patterns, fragments of your consciousness imprint upon the archive. New perspectives, new experiences, renewal. Understanding dawned. You're not just sharing your civilization with us, you're preserving ours as well. All civilizations eventually transform or end, but their essence can endure if properly archived. This exchange benefits both our kinds. Rhea considered this carefully. What Nyx proposed wasn't conquest or assimilation, but a genuine symbiosis, a way for both species to transcend their limitations while preserving what made them unique. I need to share this with my crew, she decided. All of them, not just those affected by the resonance. Wisdom, division leads to fear. As Nyx departed, Rhea stared at the nebula, the archive, with mixed emotions. They had discovered something miraculous, potentially transformative for all humanity. But they were also the only humans who knew about it, stranded far from Earth with no clear way to return. The Phoenix's mess hall served as a makeshift assembly area as Rhea addressed her gathered crew. The division among them was visibly striking, those with the luminescent patterns of the resonance bond on one side, those without on the other. Chief Ward stood apart from both groups, his expression carefully neutral. What I'm about to share will sound incredible, Rhea began, but I ask you to listen with an open mind. She explained everything, the artificial nature of the nebula, the history of the Umbra, and the significance of the resonance bond. As she spoke, the luminescent patterns on her skin pulsed in rhythm with her words, unconsciously emphasizing key points. So we're what? Evolving into these light beings? Asked Communications Officer Patel, examining the glow beneath his skin with newfound wonder. Not exactly. According to Nyx, we're developing a more stable version of their transformation, maintaining our physical forms while expanding our consciousness. And those of us who haven't changed, Ward asked, his voice carefully controlled. What happens to us? Rhea met his gaze steadily. Nothing happens to you, Chief. The resonance affects only those with compatible neural patterns. Those unaffected remain fully human and just as valuable to this crew. But less evolved, he noted bitterly. Different, Rhea corrected. Not less. This isn't a hierarchy, Darius. It's simply a biological compatibility issue. And what about Earth? asked Navigator Jin, who remained untransformed. "Do we try to get home, share this discovery, or are we meant to stay here as some kind of bridge between species?" It was the question Rhea had been wrestling with since her conversation with Nyx. Their mission and duty called them home, but they possessed no practical means to traverse the vast distance, and the resonance bond might not survive the journey. "I don't have all the answers," she admitted, "but I believe we were brought here for a reason, and I believe we have an opportunity to learn something profound, something that could change humanity's place in the universe." She looked around at her crew, transformed and untransformed alike, seeing not division but potential. "Tomorrow, I'll speak with Nyx about the possibility of returning to Earth, but tonight, I want us all to remember that we're still one crew, one team. Whatever changes come, we face them together." As the meeting dispersed, Rhea noticed Ward lingering behind. She approached him carefully. "You have concerns. Permission to speak freely." "Always. This transformation, this evolution, it's happening too fast. We don't understand the long-term implications. What if it's changing more than just our perceptions? What if it's changing who we are?" Rhea considered his words carefully. "That's a valid fear, but change is inevitable, Darius. The question is whether we guide it or resist it." "And if the change leads somewhere we shouldn't go," he pressed, "then we'll face that together too." She placed her hand on his shoulder, the luminescence of her skin casting soft light between them. "I need you, Chief, especially now. Your perspective keeps us grounded." He nodded slowly, not entirely convinced but willing to trust her judgment. For now. As Rhea returned to her quarters that night, she felt the weight of 40 lives resting on her decisions. They stood at a crossroads not just for themselves, but potentially for all humanity. The path they chose would echo across generations. And somewhere in the back of her mind, she felt Nyx watching, waiting, hopping, the last sentinel of one civilization placing their faith in the first explorers of another. The resonance bond pulsed beneath her skin, a visible reminder of the bridge they were building across species, across time, across dimensions. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, but for tonight, Rhea allowed herself to feel something she hadn't experienced since the crash: hope.